I want to show you an example so that you can see for yourself how design wizard thinking works in action. Yesterday, I noticed how often I click on the wrong icon on the toolbar, and then I have to wait for another program, and it's just a big hassle, and there's really no reason for it. When mistakes like this happen, people will often reprimand themselves for not paying attention, and then their brain shifts to that narrow focused left brain mode. To understand what is happening, I need to look at why we use icons on the toolbar. Why icons rather than text? And then I want to look at the human side. Take a short peek at the cognitive science to see how we identify things in our visual field. After that, I will pop back to show ways to test this for yourself and see it in action. Once you understand any part of design wizard thinking, it becomes integral to your design process. You can confidently know what details matter for each of your many creative decisions. The things I am showing you actually can speed up your design process and your ability to help others see that there is more to design than making things look pretty. For this example, I've captured some icons from my Windows 10 toolbar. The human process of visual search can apply to any platform or situation. So what I'm showing here is totally platform independent. Visual search is a term for when a user is faced with finding something on the screen, or in this case, finding the right icon, even when there are too many choices. Another time I will talk about some of the platform differences, especially the impact of screen size. And what was happening yesterday, I wanted to open Microsoft Word app. I was busy with another program. I needed to use Word. And I was kind of in the zone, when both sides of the brain are working in harmony. And there wasn't really any inner dialogue going on. I just clicked on the blue icon because I knew that's what I needed. As Zoom started to open, I snapped out of the zone as my left brain went right into analytical mode. I was annoyed, as only the left brain can be. I had to wait until I found out how to stop the Zoom launch. Then I shifted my full attention on the details of the individual icons, so I didn't make that mistake again. When a person engages like this, they must shift to left brain mode. And it takes a minimum of 12 minutes to get back in the zone after interruptions. While in the left brain mode, I now had to retrace my steps. Why did I even want to open Word? The flow was gone. By now you can see that clicking the wrong icon had nothing to do with me being absent-minded. It was, in fact, my right brain using my peripheral vision to open the app, so my left brain could continue focusing without any interruption. Now we understand the cause of the problem. So how do I figure out what I need to do to fix it? For this, I need to look at the software side of the issue and then to the human side of the experience. How does the brain do the visual search? So you were probably taught that icons are symbols and that a picture is worth 1,000 words. These statements can be true, but you've got to consider which 1,000 words is your icon representing. The initial computer icons were pictograms, a simple metaphorical drawing to cue the user so that they have a clue what's going to happen when they click on something. As a general rule, users do not like to click until they know what will happen. The left brain, which makes most of the decisions, abhors exploration and curiosity. That's a right brain thing. So many of these early icons are still in use today because they got the job done. The file folder icon suggests you will see files when you click on it. The paintbrush icon is the cue that a line will appear and follow the cursor as you move your mouse. Today, it is much harder to think up unique icons. There are millions of apps and tools, all needing unique icons. Yet that is no excuse for designing icons that confuse users. Many designers have just given up and rely on text labels or tooltips to explain what will happen when they click. There must be a better way. So let's look to the human part of the equation for help. If we understand how a user's brain interprets the pixels on the screen, we can get some solid guidelines. We can make sure that our icons have features that will help the user be successful. So what is happening when I search for an icon on my toolbar? To start out, our brains always want to be efficient. In fact, they have to be because brains use more energy than any other part of our body. The view that enters the eye goes through the optic nerve and then goes way to the back at the vision center. Without going deep into all the details, the full visual field has a huge amount of information. So we have two different, very efficient systems to speed up the processing. The outer parts of the eye compress the image, kind of like making a highly compressed JPEG image, where you can still see the big picture, but you have lost a lot of details in favor of speed. One very small area of your eye, the fovea, keeps the ultra-high resolution type image that we see in the world, but it keeps it in a series of snapshots to give you the illusion that you've actually seen everything at high resolution. And then it just fills in what it did not actually see. Most of this time this works, but sometimes you are blind to things that did not make it into the snapshots. The signal is first sent to the areas of the brain that identify the main objects in the visual field. This uses peripheral vision to identify the edges of objects. This is actually quite a complex task that the brain does quite differently than the AI algorithms, which get the same sort of result. High contrast is part of the process, which you learned in your first years of life. The high resolution area, the fovea, follows your attention and concentrates on only a 3-degree region that's right in front of your eyes. Most of our exquisite color perception comes from the fovea. Remember learning about the rods and cones at school? The peripheral vision is mainly concerned with light and shadow, but it can see some color. On the toolbar, your peripheral vision will likely group all the colors. So you're going to see like your basic 6 Crayola colors in that little bitty pack that you can get of, we got some blue ones, we got some green ones, we got some red ones, but it doesn't really get all the nuances. These nuances increase as you get closer and closer to the fovea. With this in mind, you can see that the peripheral vision can be the most efficient way to locate an icon on a busy toolbar. It sees everything. You can use this full field of vision. The high-resolution snapshots will miss big chunks of the toolbar, so you have to really focus your attention and carefully choose where you focus your eyes. At this point, you may as well just have the text labels because the left brain is already engaged, and that's the part that uses language. A funny thing, have you ever found that you were looking for something and yelled out, "I found the thingy"? When this happens, you know your silent right brain has located the object with your peripheral vision. It has no name for it because the right brain doesn't use language. It has to wait until the left brain catches up and gives you the word. By default, most people rely on high-resolution snapshot system. You can easily learn to shift to the more efficient peripheral vision when you are searching for things. When I was a kid, someone told me that it was nearly impossible to find a 4-leaf clover. So of course, I wanted to learn how to find them. Now, after many years of practice, I can often spot them out of the corner of my eye when I'm just walking on a sidewalk and see them over in the grass. But that really isn't what matters here. What matters is that I have taught curious friends how to activate their peripheral vision so they can find these secretive clovers as well. This is tangible proof that anyone can learn to engage your peripheral vision at will. Clover patches have mainly 3-leaf clovers. So to find the 4-leaves, most people get down on their hands and knees and start searching one clover at a time. Let me tell you, this never leads to success. If the person can take a deep breath, there's an actual physiological reason for the deep breath. It activates your vagus nerve, which makes a bunch of physiological changes, which helps to activate the right brain more. And then just gaze at the entire patch. Don't stare at it, just kind of gaze at it. And so it might not look real distinct. And if you get bored, you can move the clovers around a bit with your hand. And usually within a minute, the person has found a 4-leaf clover. Of course, to teach someone, they have to believe me when I say there is a 4-leaf clover present. I think this is mainly because you have to turn off any left brain dialogue. Doubt is a left brain thing. The same process works for anything you want to find. Most people are not aware how to turn off their foveus focus and let the right brain do its thing. Yet we do it all the time. You just don't notice it. Remember how I said people feel absent-minded when they click the wrong icon? They are actually being efficient. The right brain finds a reasonable match in shape, color, and location without engaging that 3 degrees of visual focus. A few minutes ago, I described what the peripheral vision is good at: finding edges, light and dark contrast, and general color distinctions. Motion belongs in this group here, but it's not really what we're discussing with static icons. So let's take a look at my toolbar again. Here are the icons, but this time I've tweaked them so that they look closer to what your peripheral vision might see. In looking here, you can see that there are 6 icons that are mainly blue, and a few more that have some blue on them. When they are scattered along the full toolbar, you can easily see why it's easy to click on the wrong button. What if I sort all the blue icons together and sort them kind of by color? Instantly, the brain realizes that just choosing a color is not going to get me to the icon I need. So it shifts to another mode and figures out another way to tell the images apart. It may choose shapes or certain aspects of letters, angles, straight areas, and curves. Or you may start noticing other colors like white. You just won't see all the details, just enough to tell them apart. Our brains only do the work it needs to do to be successful. There are some variations from person to person in how they pick out the landmarks to differentiate from one thing to another in this peripheral vision space. This is one of the reasons that personalization has become so important in products. It can be worth the effort to find which type of icon arrangement actually works best for you. You get to learn a little bit more about yourself. You can sort by colors, and you can also pay attention to the locations or the groupings of things on the screen. When I group all the Adobe icons together, I can see that they have a color coding system so that I only need to pick from a few icons in a limited section of my long toolbar. While we're here, try to find the Photoshop icon. While you're doing this, which icons do you actually see first in the set? Generally, people will notice the bridge icon because it is high contrast and jumps out more than the other icons in this set. If you're involved in designing icons, keep in mind how your designs look to the peripheral vision. Are there distinct edges? Can the edges even be seen when there's different background colors? Another time I will talk about how to create secondary cues that can help the user spot what they need to see on the screen. This is the first introduction on how a design wizard can create patterns of cues to engage the right brain and simplify the user experience. Too many designers create images that can only be appreciated by that 3-degree focused part of our vision. The nuanced colors, gradients, and details are ignored by the peripheral vision. They do look great on a banner or on a t-shirt, yet they can also lead to issues like clicking on the wrong icon. The mistake pushes user into focused left brain mode, where they get easily frustrated and confused. Knowing how the brain works helps the users feel successful and more open to exploration and curiosity, which leads to much better user experiences. As I mentioned in the other videos, minor things like this can shift the internal state of a person to a more closed mind, left brain state. Once you understand a design wizard concept, it becomes integral to your entire design thinking process. It is not a big deal once you know it. The things I am showing you will actually speed up your design process, and your ability to help others understand the skill of the experience of design is far more than making things look pretty. Please remember to subscribe and click the like button. That way you will be alerted when my next video premieres.